As a songwriter, there are two things that I am in desperate need of: healthcare and a way to reliably practice my craft. So this is going to be a looper pedal video. My thoughts on looper pedals, I've got some hot takes. One button looper pedals are trash. You don't need them, they're terrible. My favorite looper pedal for the longest time was the Bigtronics Infinity 3. I'm just now realizing that might be because I did not know the Bigtronics Infinity 2 existed. So we are using the Infinity 2, and the reason that I think this is the perfect looper pedal is because you can do two different phrases, like an actual song. Again, single channel pedal loopers are fine, but in a real world situation, you want to do two parts. So for example, I'm just going to do a quick thing where this only has two switches on it. The right switch controls one loop, and the left switch controls another loop to start a different phrase. So for example, let's do this. And then the next one. And then I go back to the first one. So now essentially I have two parts going back and forth that I can switch back and forth between. So if I want to actually practice like the verse of something, and then if I want to go to the chorus, I can hit this ahead of time, and at the end of this loop it'll go to the chorus. Double tap to stop. So as soon as I saw this was a thing, it's like, why have I not been using this the entire time? In fact, the folks at Sweetwater sent this over. I'll have an affiliate link in the description if you guys are interested in this. But this is for sure my new favorite pedal. Again, I have been rocking the Infinity 3 for the longest time. The only downside of that is it is bigger. It's the form factor of a few pedals, whereas this is just like a single pedal that you can just throw on wherever. The great thing about this too, it also has two inputs and two outputs. So I'll link you to a video that Sweetwater actually made themselves, kind of going through all the features of this pedal. I want to focus on just the Songwriter ones for this one. But basically, I'm just going out of my pedal board. Signal chain is I got my St. Vincent going into an Empress compressor, Big Sky reverb, into the Infinity 2, into my Fender Champ amp. Right? Now, the cool thing about having two inputs is maybe you can put a drum machine or something. If you want to use it as more of like a live performance thing, you could feed a drum machine into the second input and either have it output its own, like if you want to output that to a PA instead of an amp, you can do that here. I'm just going single in, single out. And the reason that I like this for singer-songwriter vibe is because you can utilize both of these switches for building and making loops, right? So even if that first one was just A major 7, A major 6, A major 7 type loop. We'll talk a little bit more about how to solo over that, but if I just press it, I can double tap to stop it, or I can just go into the next chord progression, which again for this it's F sharp minor 7, E, A, B7. And I can double tap there to stop that one, right? And then if I want to clear the entire loop, I can just press and hold, and you'll see both of the green buttons just kind of glitch out, and that means it's clear, so both channels are clear now. But essentially, it's like having two single button loopers in one with the same ins and outs, right? Now, my hesitation towards single button loopers is that I don't like double tapping to do stuff on a looper. I'll sacrifice that for having two channels. Now you can also get away with this by, there's like another button, which is hard to see, but it's a soft press button here. And then you can actually go into different modes of the looper pedal where you can turn the left switch into a different thing. So if I wanted to start and stop with just a different switch, I have that. I can turn it into an undo thing. I can even have an octave generator that takes it from 48K to 24K. like I said, the Sweetwater video I'm going to link you to has more about all those different features, but I personally think for a singer-songwriter, having 2 open phrases is the best thing that you could do for your craft, because you can kind of like experiment with different melodic ideas. You can start soloing. Another great thing about this specific pedal is the loop engages when you press down and not when you release the pedal. You'd be surprised how many looper pedals the loop doesn't start until you let go of the pedal. So this is really on the downbeat when you hit it, right? Just a quick tip as far as like looping something. Let's do something else. Let's do a different song of mine. The chord progression is going to be D major 7, F sharp, E7, A. So you can see I could start cold like that. I would recommend going through once, all the way through. And then closing it like that. You can also adjust the volume of the loop after the fact with the button. And then the decay knob we're not going to spend too much time on today, because that's something which is really cool, where you can have your loops fade out over time if you were doing more of like an ambient thing. But again, now I've got this whole loop right there. Not the cleanest loops, but then I can start my next one just by pressing the left foot switch, right? Now I'm going to stop that because I want to build another one. But the other nice thing about this, let me erase that. The other nice thing about this pedal is it waits to the end of the loop to engage the next action, right? So what I mean by that is, I'll just do a super, super quick one, where it's just D major 7. And maybe I want to go to a different chord, A. Then back to D. And it'll just hang out on that D until I hit the switch. Now, I can hit it early. So this is being a loop. I'm going to hit the second one, and you can see it's waiting to start again. So at the end of this loop, then it goes to the next thing. So you're not in trouble, whereas like a lot of times you have to be so precise with things to get them to switch in some pedals. So the nice thing is it waits to the end of what they call the loop boundary to execute the action that you're doing, right? So again, I think this is like an awesome thought out piece of tech that everybody should, think about investing. If you're looking for a loop pedal, this one's awesome. Just like I said, especially being able to audition different melodies and stuff over chord progressions. So I want to do an example where I rebuild that initial chord progression, and I'm going to do it on the fly. Instead of starting and stopping, I'm going to start loop 1, I'm going to jump right into loop 2 as if I'm playing a live song, and then I'm going to jump back to loop 1, and then we'll talk about maybe how to solo over, right? So A major 7, A major 6, A major 7, loop 2, F sharp, E, A major 7, B, 7. And then now I can go back and forth between these two. So if I start right now, next time through the loop, it'll switch to part B, F sharp. And then I can think ahead and get to part A next time, okay? So now we can start soloing over this. Set up loop 2. And I think the nice thing about that, double tap to stop, is now I can just practice thinking about what I want to do melodically over these loops. So what we're going to do now is we have something that is in the key of A, right? So I'm just going to take a little scale, the A major scale, starting on the 12th fret of the A string, so 12, 14, 11, 12, 14, 11, 13, 14. And I'm going to play, the only notes I'm going to use are going to be in this position right here. Maybe I should go a 11, 12 to get that G sharp in there. Those are going to be all the notes I'm playing, but I'm going to really emphasize when I'm switching loops to talk about maybe how we can kind of target different chords. Again, remember, that first loop starts on an A major chord. That second loop starts on an F sharp minor 7 chord, which also has an A note in it. But again, we don't have to necessarily think of all that right there. But it's kind of nice to land on that A, right? So I'm going to start on loop 1, A. Leave a lot of space. And then I'm going to go to loop 2 at the end of this phrase, and I want to start on this note. And then I'm going to go back to A, and I want to do the same thing. I want to prep the loop to end on here. And see how that kind of fits well together? And if I get bored of this loop, I can always go to the natural minor, which F sharp natural minor pentatonic. Or I can do it up here. So a cool thing that we can do now is we can maybe take the first loop and do this little A major scale and set the second loop up into F sharp minor pentatonic. So for example, now it's my sign to go back up through this scale. Pentatonic. And then again, double tap whenever you want to stop. And then if you want to erase both of them, you see that these blinking lights right there say that there's audio present in each one that is ready to be started whenever you want to go back and forth. And then again, it'll start on the next one, you hit that, or you can double tap and then press and hold. It'll get rid of all of them, and then it just clears the slate. So best pedal that I could think of for an aspiring singer-songwriter, because just being able to get different chord progressions down, even if it's something super simple like, you know, C to G, and then loop 2 could be A minor to F, and then just being able to switch back and forth between super simple chord progressions like that, invaluable. So I think this is one of the better deals you can get from a pedal standpoint. And yeah, super thanks to Sweetwater for sending this over. Like I said, I will have an affiliate link in the description. Anything you think about getting through Sweetwater, consider using my link, because huge supporter of their channel. And you know, I just love those guys. They're the best in the business. So thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions or any requests for maybe further things using this looper pedal or more looper pedal style lessons. And I will talk to you all soon.